Now that you have been doing this podcast for a little bit, how's your view of it changed from when you first were going to start one to now? Like, what's the process been like? And
Yeah, I think the one word I would say is you got to be intentional. It's not easy. You know, when we started this thing, Jeff, I remember right where we were, I thought it would be just a simple hit a record button, plop it out on the world or on the internet, and there you go. But I see what you do behind the scenes. If people could see all the equipment that you've purchased, your investment side is huge for the podcast space. If you're to do it by yourself, I mean, there's a ton of equipment you'd have to purchase. There's a lot of time. Believe it or not, if you're going to have guests on, you have to deal with their schedules. Like right now, it's, almost the 4th of July. It's right after the 4th of July. But like that whole 2 or 3 weeks, I mean, people are on vacations. You're just not going to get a lot of movement. And then you get busy too, and you find other interests you're trying to do. But if you're consistent about it and intentional about it, you'll make it happen. But I don't want anybody thinking that, unless you just do a podcast in your garage, which is totally cool. But the way we do it, it's an extra business. It really is. But
one of the things that I think about it with just video production in general is you can do anything with a phone.
Yeah.
Like you could do this podcast with your phone by yourself.
Yeah.
But every little piece of equipment, every camera upgrade, every cable, every light, like all the different things just make it a little bit more convenient. So like my goal with buying equipment and stuff is like, is this going to make my workflow a little bit faster? Is it going to, and then you weigh, well, is the money investment worth that extra few minutes it's going to save? I mean, we don't need all this to do a podcast,
No, but there's intention behind it. So like, let's just use the Learning to Fly podcast. We're using it for Basham construction marketing. We're using it for, personal development, life coaching, those kind of things. And like you said, all this equipment you don't need, but we use them for clips to put out a 30-second clip or whatever. You also do all of our videography at Basham Construction with all our projects. And there's going to be more that I haven't talked to you about, but there's a lot that goes into this. But like you said, it doesn't have to be that deep. I listen to a couple local podcasts that it's literally, they don't record them or film them.
Yeah.
They just record them. And that's good enough too. I think for like what we're doing, you want to showcase what Campfire Video Solutions does. Like this is another branch of what you guys are capable of doing, and you can take the podcast out of it. You can use this for documentation, for family life, for anything, you name it. Sports teams could, have coaches come in here and lay down some, core values, some principles, and just have them recorded so you hit the play button. You don't have to repeat it every time. There's opportunities out the wazoo, but how has this been it's a good question for you though. Has this been a time suck for you, challenging, or has this added any value, or you're like, dude, let's get this thing out of the
it's been good for me. It's I think when you and I first started doing it, the way I approached it was like, this is going to be an experiment for me, and it was for you too. It's kind of like I think long term there is definitely potential with what I do for this to be something where it could be a service where if somebody needs to pump out a bunch of short form content and they don't have a space, maybe their office doesn't have a space, or they don't have an office, they work out of their house or whatever, but they want to just sit down and knock out a bunch of short form videos. This would be a great way to do that, where you can have either a conversation and then make a bunch of clips out of it, or you could have topics. Like a lot of times you'll come in and we'll come in with, here's 3 or 4 topics I want to hit. You just knock them out one after the next, and then you've got, clips and all kinds of things to use. So there's definitely a lot of potential. I would say I probably have underestimated how much time it would take, like you did, probably just the kind of back end stuff. And that's where I struggle, is just, there's not enough hours in the day to do everything. And I love doing it, and I love the potential of it and the concept, but you just get, especially in the summer, we're both busy.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's very hard. Like right now, I mean, it's 10:30 in the morning, on a Wednesday. and usually 10:30 in the morning we're out, killing snakes, so to speak, with business. So we just had to figure out a time this week and forecast our next couple weeks. And Jeff's got some stuff going on, and so you got to be a little intentional about it. I think people value the consistency piece, but there's also times where we may not be on air, and that's okay.
Yeah,
this is a project. One thing I learned about, not to drop a name on another podcast, but the Joe Rogan Experience.
Yep.
I just learned this like 2 days ago. That was named after Jimi Hendrix Experience. So that's kind of cool to me that he wanted to keep that experience. Like the Real AF, they have a project. They called one of their podcasts, it was a project, right? This is more of a, I don't know, just something I want to keep going and building off of. I don't know if it'll ever end. I mean, I'm sure it will. One of these days it will. It has to if I die. But, I just want it to be to where people can come to, I don't know, either learn something or, be able to vent to or kind of understand, like, I get where those guys are coming from. I don't know.
Yeah, and for me personally, like it's been cool for me to watch because I strive to be one of those people that can just like start something and then figure it out as I go, and that's not my natural way I operate. Like I probably tend to overthink things and like want to have it all figured out before I start. Where you really can't for something like this. Watching you just be like, let's just do it. Know? And so that's pushed me out of my comfort zone of like, well, we need to figure it all out. I think it's cool that it can just adapt, and like you go back and watch. I mean, I think it's fun. Like when I start getting into a podcast, I'll go back to like the very first few episodes that they ever did, or like a YouTube channel. Go back and look at the first few videos, and it's funny to see like they're terrible, and it's a good reminder of you don't have to be perfect. You're not going to be your fully formed version.
You're not even going to be close.
Starting, yeah.
Well, I could say the same about you though, because your growth with this podcast. The one thing that I noticed was that I don't know if it's AI. I don't know what it is, but whenever the technology you keep adding, every podcast you add something in here, and I'm like, what are you doing here? I wish you could get that button where I look thin, but I'm not ever going to be like that. But when somebody starts talking, the camera automatically goes. That was a big one. Yeah. I don't watch all the podcasts. I watch the clips. I mainly just listen to them, but everyone gets a little more professional. Like you need to be proud of this because it's going the level of quality that you're putting out, I think, gets overlooked because everybody's so used to just seeing reels all the time that they might lose focus. Like, hey, this is done here in Plainfield, Indiana, by a guy that started his business how long ago?
A few years ago.
Yeah. So you ought to be proud of that, man.
Yeah,
that's a good, cool thing that we both get to share.
Yeah.
And everybody that comes in here, they always leave wanting to do a podcast. Every single one of them. Like, man, I've always wanted to do a podcast. I'm like, go do it. And I'm going to tell you something. It's hard. It's not It's not as easy as you think.
But I think that's a good point, though. I think that is something like a lot of people say, oh, I'm gonna do a podcast someday, or I'm going to start a YouTube channel or whatever. But like, you actually did it.
Well, yeah, because I'm a big believer in doing what you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
And my kids are watching me. Other people are watching me, and I would be a fraud, man. I'd be a fraud if I didn't follow through and do what I say I'm going to do. Don't get me wrong, man. There's days I don't want to do this. There's days I'm uncomfortable. I mean, you can even listen to past podcasts. I forget what I'm talking about because it's hard to think of questions. I don't write, and nothing is scripted here. I don't come in here with notes. I never have, probably never will.
I can attest to that.
And I sometimes get lost in my thoughts. I'm like, shit, am I having a stroke here? But it's real. I mean, I'm not trying to be somebody I'm not. And on top of that, I'm also not afraid to fail. You know, if people listen to this and are like, who the hell do you think think whatever you want, man. Yeah. I'm not doing this to pump up Ryan Basham. I'm doing this to make a difference because all the guests I've had on have made such a huge impact in my life.
Yeah.
I want them to know that. I get so sick and tired. I buried both my parents, and I get tired of going to a funeral to hear how great people are. Yeah. You know, I want to let people know how great they are while they're still in front of me.
Yeah.
So that's the difference in me. I don't care if I look silly. I've looked silly my whole life, whatever. But I'm doing stuff, right? And as they say, I've got receipts to show it. I'm doing stuff. I'm doing what I'm saying I'm going to do. I'm leading. I'm giving back. I'm doing all the things my mom and my dad raised me to do, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to teach my kids to do the same. That's all we're doing.
I think it's cool too, because you and I both listen to a lot of podcasts, and the ones that we listen to are mostly like national, huge podcasts,
like this one.
Exactly, just like this one. But I think it's a cool reminder too. From what I get to sit and listen to these as they're recorded. Mm-hmm. I think it's a good reminder too of like, you don't have to be super famous to have an interesting story. Like everybody you've had in here, no matter what they do, whatever their background, like their story is unique. Mm-hmm. And I've learned something from every single conversation, and it's not what you expect to learn. Mm-hmm. And some people come in, you have a different expectation, and then they walk out and you're like, gosh, I didn't know that. Or I just think it's cool that it's a good reminder of like the person that's, sitting next to you at a restaurant or something, like they have a cool story. Like everybody has an interesting story.
Everybody does. Yeah. You just got to want to hear it,
Yeah.
Everybody's got something cool. And the guests that are coming, like I said, it's July and everybody's on vacation right now. So we do have some really awesome guests coming that are scheduled. One of them is my old high school guidance counselor. It'll blow your mind. She is the most cool person you'll ever meet in your life.
That'll be interesting to hear what she says about you.
Yeah, I mean, it is. And she ironically, we have the same sit in the same section for Colts games, and I can see him, Coach Coker down there, and his wife Judy, which is the guidance counselor. I see him, in the fall all the time, and my kids are like, hey, Coach is down there. I'm like, yeah, you know who he is now, and you know about him, and that guy is a daggone legend, man. If I can get him on, which I'm sure I can. I mean, he is, you want to talk about a maniac, like a driven individual that has poured his heart and soul into so many. It's unbelievable. And unless somebody captures that story, you'll never hear it. So, yeah, I agree with you. You don't have to be some A-lister. What are we, like a C or a D-lister? yeah, whatever. But, yeah, everybody's got a cool story. I agree with that.